Welcome! These are the highlights of the second round of the Water Polo Champions League group stage. The favourites are winning on the road. Ferencváros against Radnicki, Olympiacos versus Sabadell. Barceloneta were up against Yadan, whilst Vasas managed to defeat Marseille at home to enter the fight in Group C. These are the results. Steaua Hanover 13-12, Oradea Novi Beograd 9-15, Damo Tbilisi Yadan split 10-16, Radnicki Ferencváros 5-12, Yadan Barceloneta 8-16, Vasas Marseille 13-11, Sabadell Olympiacos 8-15, and Primorad Savona 12-18. A chance to get the first European points of the season in front of their crowd sounded just right for the reigning Romanian champion Steaua, especially after a good display for the majority of the game against Novi Beograd last week. When it comes to their opponent, Waterpolo Hanover, it's another day in the office featuring another Romanian club as they failed to complete a full comeback against Andria on Matchday 1. And they couldn't complete it yet again. It was almost like history was repeating itself as the guests found the back of the net 3 times in a row within the first 4 minutes of the game, led by Luka Georgescu, the owner of half of the efficiency. 4-0 became 4-1 after a bit over 12 minutes of the game. Denis Radnicki used the extra player advantage for the first time with a nice diagonal shot. And the home side was now the one with all of the precision-wise problems themselves. 8 minutes without a single ball put into the back of the net. Nikola Milodovic used another power play with a shot from the left wing to cut the deficit to 2 goals before it went up to 3, thanks to Georgescu's third of the game, ending the more than 12 minutes of goal drought for the home side. But it was not a bit of fresh air, not a single bit. 2 consecutive goals from Hanover ended the quarter with 5-4 on the scoreboard. And who would have thought the last 8 minutes would be as dramatic as they were? Christoph Takats got the 3rd personal foul at the beginning of the last quarter. Tudor Andre Fulea scored from the right-back position to get the +2 back on home side. Croatian lefty Luka Lozina scored a phenomenal goal from the centre position to keep the dramatic tone of the game going. And just as Ivan Živakovic, another Croatian, but this one being the new acquisition for the home side, used his left hand. Andrei Tepolus waved goodbye as he got the 3rd and the final exclusion of the game. Fulea was the only one on the score sheet for the home side and the remaining 3 minutes of the game, but a fantastic display from the guest side showed no backing down in the pursuit to take the points. With only a second to go, the 3rd consecutive goal, this one courtesy of Milodovic from the counter, meant only one thing: more drama. The first penalty shot was saved by Tik, the Romanian national team goalkeeper. And goal after goal, the last penalty shot belonged to Živakovic. 13-12, meaning an extra point after the share of spoils stays at Bucharest. In Group A, Novi Beograd played in Oradea. In the first round, the Serbs defeated another Romanian team, Steaua, while Oradea celebrated on the road at Hanover. This time, Oradea didn't have too many chances. In fact, all they managed to do was lead at the very beginning via Belegnesi. The response of the visitors was quick. They retaliated with 3 in a row for 3-1, with an extra player, Vucinic, scored. The visitors went into half-time with a 3-goal lead. Chuk is responsible for that. He scored a nice goal as time expired. In just 3 minutes of the third quarter, Novi Beograd solved all dilemmas about the winner. Turtovic, Chuk and Martinovic scored in a series and took the game in only one direction. That was briefly stopped by Gusarov with a goal from the 5-metre halfway through that part of the game. And Oradia's last attempts came a minute later when Velix was successful with an extra player. By the end of the match, Novi Beograd further increased its advantage without spending too much energy. Vasilije Martinovic was particularly inspiring with 4 goals, while on the other side even Gusarov was better than the others with 3 goals. In the match of Group B, Damo met Yadan from Split in Tbilisi. Let us remind you that in the first round, the Georgians were convincingly defeated by Ferencvaros, while the Croats beat Radnicki with a better execution of penalties. As expected, Yadan took the lead from the start, and they gained their first major advantage already in the first quarter. First, right at the half, Chigal realised an extra player. And then Marinic Kragic concluded the series of 3 goals in a row with a goal from the 5 metres. Although it was expected that the visitors would break the game early, the hosts got back into the game thanks to captain Marek Velitsa at the beginning of the second quarter. Dynamo offered unexpectedly strong resistance until half-time, so after 16 minutes it was only +1 for the players from Split. However, the new series of Yuri Morelia's team also marked the beginning of the end of the home team's hopes for a positive result. This time, Yadan made a series of 4-0. A little more than a minute before the end, Marinic Kragic scored from a counter-attack to give his team a 4-goal lead. The champion of Croatia routinely brought the game to an end. Pejkovic brought them to a +6 with a goal attack. And Marinic Kragic, who was in high spirits once again, took care of the biggest advantage with an extra player. The final 10-16 was scored 2 minutes before the end by Aidishvili from the centre position. Marinic Kragic was the most effective in the winning team with 4 goals, 2 of them from the penalty. One of, if not the toughest Champions League obstacle lies ahead of Radnicki in their second duel. The title defender who has straight A's when it comes to displays so far, both in Europe and in Hungary. Ferencvaros travelled around 500 kilometres heading south to continue the march towards the new Champions League trophy, without a few soldiers such as Adam Nagy and Summer Vogel. The first quarter offered the most when it comes to uncertainty of who's taking the points. The home side had a great opening through Strahinja Rašović and Dusan Vacic, whose powerful skip shot is going to be one of Radnicki's rare opportunities used with the numerical advantage in the pool. The Frari answered through Vendel Vigvari's power play goal and a fantastic counter-attack by Martin Vamos, who was left all alone in a one-on-one situation with the opponent's goalkeeper Radoslav Filipovic. For the majority of the second quarter, there were turnover fouls, steals, saves, exclusions, but no goals for almost a full 5 minutes. It was Stylianos Agriopoulos who broke the deadlock with another precise shot to get the first advantage for the guest side, followed by Vendel Vigvari's 2-in-a-row goals, first from the counter, the second one with the extra player in the attack to take the result to 5-2 for Ferencvaros. The additional problem for Radnicki, a third personal foul for Rašović, one of the key components of the home side's attack. But a glimpse of attacking prowess was shown by another home side player. Look at this goal from Lazar Vikovic with only a second left to go. 5-3, and the advantage kept on going in the third period, starting off with Mandic's second goal in a row and one of the best goals so far in the Champions League. Dusan Mandic producing yet another moment of his magic. Just look at that backhand. What a goal! Gergo Fekete topped things off with his 2-metre line goal after breaking free and giving the guests a comfortable +5 with 8 minutes to go. Mandic netted the first goal of the last quarter, the first penalty shot of the game. Agriopoulos kept the momentum going, and after almost 13 minutes, it was a penalty shot goal from Radomir Drašević, who put an end to the lack of attacking precision, especially shown in the extra player attacks. 10-5, or should we say 11-5 with Mandic's fourth goal of the night. Varga netted another one for 12-5 just before he got the bystander status, aka getting the third exclusion. Dusan Vasic followed on the other side with the same destiny, but the result remained the same, and it all remained the same when it comes to the Fradi season. A dominant display in another European pool, they didn't manage to take the 3 points previously, so 2 boxes ticked on Matchday 2. Water polo is not one of the most popular sports in Bosnia-Herzegovina, but they had a chance to enjoy Water Polo Champions League because Yadan Novi plays their home games in Trebinje during the reconstruction of their home pool. The second round brought them a great challenge. Barceloneta is the main favourite to win the group. The team led by Elvis Fatovic was dominant in the first round against Vasas. Yadan lost on their visit to Marseille. The first quarter was played goal for goal, after Vigvari scored for 1-2, taking the lead. Radovic equalised for Yadan for 2-2. That was the result of the first quarter. Another goal scored by Yadan at the end of the first 8 minutes was annulled after the official horn stopped the action. The second quarter showed why Barceloneta is ranked so high this year, after Peroni scored this beautiful lob for 3-3. The Spaniards started to play much faster as they managed to turn the game around. Peroni scores again, this time from the centre position for 4-5. And what follows is a well-prepared extra player action that Tahul finishes on the second post for a 2-goal advantage after the first half. The second half starts with a rare mistake by the Spaniards that Radovic uses after a nice roll around Aguirre for 5-6. After that goal by Radovic, Barceloneta scores 4 consecutive goals without a Montenegrin response. A series closed by Tahul for a 5-goal advantage for the Spanish champions. Strupa scores for 7-10, but Granados is calm from 5 metres in the last seconds of the third quarter. Granados is unstoppable in the fourth quarter also. 2 quick goals and Barceloneta has a 6-goal advantage. Yadan has no chance to come back in this game. Until the end, 2 goals by Burian, 1 for Famero for another convincing win for Barceloneta. Granados is the best scorer for the visitors with 3 goals. Vasilije and Radovic score 2 for Yadan, that is still without a point in this season. Barceloneta with 2 wins after 2 rounds. In the first round of Group C, Vasas suffered a heavy defeat at Barceloneta by as much as 11 goals, while Marseille beat Yadan from Novi with a +2 at home. The champions of France ended this match better. They took the lead with goals from Van Peperstrata with the player more, and Verno increased the lead with a goal from the centre position. However, the Hungarians quickly recovered and equalised with 2 goals from Bátori, first with an extra player and then from the penalty. Until the end of the first quarter, it was goal for goal, and Verno gave the visitors a minimal advantage with another precise shot. Vasas took the lead for the first time in the second quarter when Gash scored. That advantage was further increased by Đerdović with a goal with an extra player, and at half-time we still went with +1 thanks to Polenovic's answer on the other side. It looks like the key moments of the game happened in the third quarter. Then Vasas escaped from 8-7 to 11-7. First, Marseille reduced the difference to only 1 goal through Angel. And then the streak was started by Đerdović and ended by Battisti in the very end of that part of the game. The home team defended that +4 without too many problems in the last quarter. True, the visitors threatened a little with 2 goals in a row. Velotto scored for -3, and then Angel was precise with an extra player. However, any doubts about the winner was resolved by Lakatos with a goal with a player advantage in the pool. In the end, the score was 13-11. At Vasas, Đerdović was the most effective with 3 goals, while for Marseille, Velotto scored the same amount. In the first round, Olympiacos had a disappointing performance against Primorac from Kotor, which they managed to beat only after taking the penalties. Sabadell, on the other hand, started successfully with a celebration against Savona away. However, this time the champions of Greece redeemed himself and recorded a convincing victory, although it didn't start well for them. After the initial lead through Funtelis from the 5-metre, Sabadell responded with 3 consecutive goals. Valera Calatrava scored for 3-1 just 3 seconds before the end of the first quarter. But in the second part of the game, everything came into its own as far as Hervoy Kolyanin's team was concerned. They opened it up with a goal by Nikolaidis with an extra player, and concluded through Papanastasio at the end of that part of the game from a counter-attack. At half-time, the score was 3-5. At the beginning of the second half, the Spaniards held on well, and when Valera Calatrava scored from the penalty for only -1, it seemed it could be an uncertain game until the very end. However, that only seemed to anger the guests, namely their streak of 5 goals in a row followed. It was started by Damo in the middle of the third quarter with a goal with an extra player, and Genedinias finished with a counter goal at the beginning of the last quarter. Sabadell was without a goal for exactly 8 minutes, and then it ended with another successful shot by Valero Calatrava. It was a goal for 7-12, and in that time it was clear that the winner was decided. Until the end, it was just about getting the job done, and the last goal of the match was scored by Bushlier with an extra player a minute before the end. In the ranks of Olympiacos, Genedinias was great with 5 goals from 5 attempts. Sabadell was led by Valero Calatrava with 3 goals from as many shots. The pool in Kotor was host to the Champions League again after a long hiatus for Primorac. After the loss in Piraeus on penalties against Olympiacos, the hosts were hoping for 3 points against Savona, also on 0 points due to Sabadell surprising them at home. The opening first quarter played goal for goal, with Savona leading 3-2 after Merkulov scored from distance. Primorac responded with Mrsic from 5 metres and Chetkovic using an extra player attack. Figlioli closed the quarter with a penalty shot of his own for 4-4. Primorac was playing well on the start of the second quarter. A second goal from Shishiavili gave them a 7-6 lead. Demonti brought the Italians to 7-7, and then at the end of the second quarter, Savona scored 3 goals in only 1 minute and 25 seconds. Erdelier finalising the run with a nice shot from outside. The Montenegrins were hoping for a quick comeback. Primorac was awarded a penalty, Niskosia saves, but in the next attack, Bergeljan scores for 9-10. That was 6 minutes before the end of the third quarter. Primorac scored only 3 goals in the following 14 minutes. Savona on the other side scored 8, 5 of them in the last quarter. This one from Erdelier for 17-12 was particularly nice. It ended 12-18, convincingly for Savona. That brings them back into the fight for the qualification from this group. For Primorac, a tough home loss to the direct competitors, which could be proven costly in the end. This is how the group tables look like after 2 rounds. Novi Beograd is leading in Group A, with the 2 Romanians Oradea and Steaua behind with 1 point each. Ferencvaros is on 100% in Group B. Yadan is second with 5 points. Radnicki is third with 1. Barceloneta was the clear favourite to win the group and are proving it after 2 rounds. Everybody else is chasing second place. And in Group D, Olympiacos is first. Sabadell and Savona with an away win each are on 3 points. Primorac is last.
Let's go.
The next round comes in 2 weeks. The biggest matches? Well, it's Ferencvaros versus Yadan and Vasas Plaket Novi and Barceloneta and Marseille. We'll see you then.